Greetings, Invader scum. This is Pincognito, aka Pinko, back with number 10 and a half hour Stone Life of a Finger. So this is going to be a little bit different format than my previous ones. This is kind of a grab bag of invasions I thought were interesting or kind of fun from my fairly recent streams, probably all within the last month or so for sure. So you'll see different builds, different levels, so hopefully it's entertaining. So we're starting off here at kind of the PreDancer area. This is my soul level 55 plus 6 invader, my faith build, Naj of the Path. So we've got a group of 3, not great odds. 3v1s tend to be, I think, the most difficult invasions. And the PvE here is pretty short-lived, because it's statted out for people going to fight Vorts, not dancers. Yeah, I completely botched my roll. Just going for the backstab, or at least the dodge of the art of the weapon, but totally botched it. But as it turns out, they've got a finger active. Now I'm not sure if that's because they were expecting a 4th member, if they were stream sniping, whatever. Regardless, it brought Saint to my world, so I was feeling pretty good. Saint and I tend to work pretty well together, so I was feeling good about this invasion. We got a blue on the way. And as soon as I get a read on the blue, I target him first. First of all, this white backs off. And then the blue is a good target because he gets us more Estus. So I immediately start targeting him. Able to get the guard break. And then I just catch him and roll catch hell. So we get our 2 Estus. And we are in good shape. 3v2. Saint and me, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm going to take a little pressure off of Saint because they had him in a 3v1 there briefly. Again, I mistimed my roll against the Moonlight. I think I thought I could catch him with my attack before he actually unleashed the weapon art. But I completely mistimed that. Here, however, he switched to a faster weapon. Not necessarily a bad idea, but he kind of tries to poise through again, as you'll see in a second. And while I eat the weapon art, I finish him off at the same time. Now I gotta come take pressure off Saint. Saint's done some work, so just 1 R1, and the host is down. GG Saint. Fun as always, man. Fun as always. Alright, so here we've got my newest invader, who I took through on a dried finger run during streams, Isla of Izalith. So she is a Pyromancer, a Chaos build, so I only use Chaos-infused weapons, and Pyromancies, obviously. So we're here in Profane Capital, trying to get a read on where the party is. You notice I'm using offhand hand axe. This is thanks to Mocha Latte, who put out a nice video about that build, and you should check out his channel, which I will link in the description for this video. Offhand hand axe is fantastic at roll catching, like unbelievably good. Does solid damage. Pretty nice on the Chaos Infusion here. So I tend to either pair it with a rapier or a spear. I just find that kind of fun. The spear is good for chasing down panicking hosts. The spear hand axe is not great from neutral. You don't have any great kind of initiators. The rapier is a little better, but I've had a lot of fun playing with this setup. So you see the party across the way. One of the downsides to this build, because I've got very minimal strength dex, is that I don't really have any long range attacks or great bow options. I just don't have the stats. Even if I put a Knight's Ring, a Hunter's Ring, I still wouldn't have the stats. Fortunately for me, this Sunbro didn't come equipped. So that poor bastard. He doesn't even make it up the ladder. GG Sunbro. The host, also toxic. And I get to use some of that sweet verticality. Easy peasy. Not much of a Pyromancer demonstration there, but it's a fun build. Alright, so here we got Soul Tenebrous, who we last saw tragically falling down an elevator shaft, I think in episode number 8 of this series. He was at 81 for a long time. Now he's a soul level 90. Weapon upgrades are plus 10. I deleted another soul level 90 character, so I kind of upgraded Soul here to fill the void. Still largely using the Dark Claymore, sometimes the Onyx Blade. We'll see here, I also really love the Dark Man Serpent Hatchet. So this invasion right here was against someone who was stream sniping, not in a nasty way, but I fought him a couple times during the stream. It's been a while. This happened like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think, so I don't really recall how it all went. I think he invaded me once, I invaded him a couple times. He's a good player. So he's got the Man Serpent Hatchet out. I've got the Great Sword. He's a good enough player, he can kind of reaction roll my attack. So I pretty quickly decided to switch to a faster weapon. Initially choosing the Dark Longsword. There he went for the second R1 after I blocked the first. And so you see me a few times now after that go for the setup parry. The axes you can set up parry after the first R1. But he may have realized his mistake pretty quickly, because I don't think he ever again swings twice after the first block, or swings a second time. So he's doing a pretty good job here of even reaction rolling the straight sword. So I decided to make this a little more interesting, go for the mirror matchup. And he has a lot more difficulty dodging the Man Serpent Hatchet than the straight sword, interestingly. Even though the Man Serpent Hatchet is slower, he seems a little less familiar with like the spacing for it. So I'm getting some pretty good damage in. And man, the Dark Man Serpent Hatchet there, he goes for the prediction parry, but those are really hard to land. The Dark Man Serpent Hatchet is like a turtle killer, because the Man Serpent Hatchet has innate chip damage, Dark Infuse it, and you are doing some serious damage against even like Great Sword Turtles. So he's got Way of the Blue on. Now I head immediately off to take care of the blue because I don't want to be attacked from behind. I do a quick check for the host, and he is booking it behind me. So I do a nice little turn and burn, catch him completely off guard, put him in a bad spot in a hurry. But I know the blue is coming. Just missed that beautiful verticality, but that would have been the end of it right there. So I'm looking out for the blue. I know the blue has to be nearby. There's no way they haven't noticed all this damage taking place. And there they are. Fortunately, the blue has dragged in half the level. I'm able to get a nice lightning urn here. It does some good damage. And then, sweet plunge attack. God, that was beautiful. GG, guys. That was a super fun short invasion. Here we've got Carnifex Canary, my soul level 70 plus 8. Kind of quasi-strength poise build, a little bit quality-ish. I've got 18 decks so that I can use the Black Knight weapons, which I just love. And here you'll see a couple things. You'll see kind of my continued practicing on the fishing game. It's a tasty little rollback stab here. And also something I've been working on more recently, which is swaps. So the weapon swaps involve changing your weapons, like a hard swap through your menu between the parry and the riposte. So it's really kind of a muscle memory thing. So practicing against the Drakeblood Knights and Archdragon Peak is like ideal. So I've been working on doing weaponized swaps. Like so. Look at this tasty little weapon swap. Honestly, if you had told me 6 months ago I'd be doing this ever, I would have thought you were crazy. Let's watch that again, shall we? I don't get tired of watching these. If you haven't worked on swaps at all, it's really just a muscle memory thing. I really encourage you to try it. It's just so much fun. It looks so nice. Just look at that, man. Swapping into like an Ultra Hornet Ring critical, it just does not get old. It does not get old. Beautiful stuff. Are they functional? Not really. Are they beautiful? They most definitely are. So I encourage everyone to work on them. Alright, so this is another character I don't think has shown up in a half-hour or so video yet, but I streamed with him a ton. This is Onus Layer Oswin, who's my soul level 36 plus 4. Kind of primarily invade with him in the Cathedral, the Catacombs, and sometimes Demon Ruins. And sometimes Crucifixion Woods to fight some of those fun ganks. Basic premise behind this guy is he, as the name would suggest, is a kind of a former mercenary Onus Layer. So he uses. I always have the Onus Layer Great Bow equipped. Occasionally switched out for the Millwood. I also frequently use the Onikirin Ubadachi, which have the Onus Layer weapon art. Onus Layer Oswin. But I've got a whole slew of other dex weapons that I switch to at times. So we come across this pair up here. And the blue that's on the way is a blue I had fought. I invaded his world, and he was very good. So the fact that he was coming in as a blue had me worried, because he was definitely good enough. I think he beat me in the time I invaded him, so having him in the midst of a 3v1 had me a little worried. So I switched the Hornet. This guy just swings right into me. And that's the end of that for the White Phantom. And we have a little summon lag here. You'll see that the White's departure has a kind of a long effect on the host here. Going for a few setup parries, can't quite land. I land the backstab during the summoner's leg. Whoop! Rewind. But I land nonetheless. The Blue's a good sport about it. GG. Alright, so we're here with Soul Tenebrous again, this time in the Ring City. Super fun level to invade in. Lots of ganks, but the PvE is so chaotic that things just tend to be fun, chaotic, exciting here. It's usually a good time. So we've got a 2v1, Host and a Phantom. They see this right away. So we take a break. I'm not giving chase through 2 Herald Knights. It's a quick way to end this invasion, and not in my favor. So we hang out for a little while. Enjoy this beautiful level design. So we got a blue on the way. They're coming in back earlier in the level though, so we have a chance to catch them isolated, which is obviously to our advantage. They've definitely seen us. You can see him slowing down for the turn and burn. Tries to Frayed Blade weapon art right in my face. Not a good idea when your opponent has the poise weapon. But GG. So we got the Phantom waiting for us. The Phantom. Too late to get that nice little plunge attack. Phantom is in some pretty decent trouble here, though. But manages to get out through, I think, pretty much unscathed. But this Herald Knight was committed. I experienced they don't usually go back this far, but this dude had business to attend to. Just trying to do some chip damage while the Herald Knight chases him down. Seated again, so this is a lot more dangerous now, but I try to get on the other side of them to try to get a pincer of sorts with the Herald Knight, but the Phantom does some very nice damage. I'm in some pain. I'm trying to back off so I can safely heal. Got to be cognizant of the ability of that curve sword to run up and attack me in a hurry. But I'm able to get enough space to heal off. Trying to engage on safe terms here between the Ultra and the Curve Sword. One stun lock from that Great Sword and I could be in a lot of trouble, given the speed of the Curve Sword. I think they could have done a little bit more here to attack me kind of in tandem. They're kind of trading back and forth, which is not a terrible idea, but it's easier for me to deal with them one at a time. I mean, obviously. Since they can't hurt each other, they could have I think more easily just ganged up on me. Now I almost roll off the edge, and the Phantom does, and this is a golden opportunity. 1-2 combo of Soul Tenebrous and Herald Knight. GG Phantom. That's a quick 1,000 plus damage. So now we got the host, who's got a dangerous weapon setup. I have fought people with this weapon setup. Here I have the embarrassing pratfall. He does not pursue. We're seated still. He does not pursue, I guess, he doesn't want to risk getting hurt by the Herald Knights. Not a terrible idea. So that weapon setup, so there's someone who's in Saint Streams a lot, Tony, who uses the, I think, similar weapon setup with the Lothric Knight Greatsword rather than the Greatsword. But it's very dangerous. Using the straight sword in conjunction with it allows you to punish people who roll in against the Ultra. We'll see here the host doesn't really take advantage of that kind of versatility of having the two weapons. It's still, you have to be very careful when you approach this setup. So now that the seed is worn off, we can go back here and engage. So you can see me, I'm being very cautious. Usually if it was just the Ultra, I'd be very comfortable rolling in or going in and rolling, reaction rolling. With the straight sword in the main hand, that's much more difficult. And we'll space a nice little poke there. Yeah, this is a foolish heal right there. It's just panicking, I guess. A nice little rolling poke. GG host. Fun Ring City invasion. It's good stuff. Poor Blue. Alright, believe it or not, this is the last invasion in the video. So it's a long one. So we've got Onus Layer Oswin again here in the Catacombs, one of my absolute favorite places to invade. Here I can see the party on those the shortcut, so I switched to the Millwood in the hopes I can knock them off with the AoE. I really prefer using the Onus Layer for the most part because you've got like no drop off in the arrow's trajectory, but the Millwood is fun for times like this. So I've been seated, but I don't actually notice at first until this guy starts wailing on me. But I don't really want to kill the mobs because I don't, you never know how long an invasion is going to last, what path it's going to take. So when I'm seated, I really try my hardest not to kill any of the mobs. Unless unless it's just like absolute necessity. So this ladder here is a nice place to hang out during a seed. Skeletons won't use the ladder, so you can just chill until the effects wear off. So there we go. Okay, there's like a little residual period where the enemies will still attack you when the seed has ended, but they won't hurt you. So that's what was happening right there after I got up the ladder. So we've got a blue in the world. So we've got at least a 3v1 right now. So ideally we will get the blues isolated and not with the party. So obviously a series of 1v1 encounters is much more preferable than a 3v1. Here I catch the host just chilling. And we'll do some nice damage. I'm not sure he didn't encounter the Millwood bow before because he doesn't even react to this one. I was hoping to do some more damage, but surprise! I get caught a few times here. So this the second blue that shows up here had a tough combination because A, he was pretty good. Has a high damage weapon. That Dragon Slayer axe does a lot of damage at these levels. And he had some pretty decent latency, which made it very hard for me to play against that weapon like I usually would. We'll see that in just a second here. So pretty decent delay on the hit register. So that's something I had to be cognizant of when fighting him, and you'll see it come up a few times here. So one of your best allies in this level, absolutely bar none, is this Skeleball. GG, first blue. We don't see him roll off, but that's what happened. Nearly catches that blue. You can win a lot of invasions just using that Skeleball strategically. Those balls sometimes have some wonky hitboxes. I think we'll see that later in this invasion, much later. In a different part of the level where I have some issues with a Skeleball. There, I try to get the circle strafe backstab against the whiff parry, but I can't time it. Nice kick instead of the third R1 there from the blue. Just anticipating my parry attempt, I think. Here, another whiff parry, but this time, ooh, look at that latency. That wonkiness is partly a product, I think, of the latency between us. Look at that. Neither of those hits registered. I was getting a little frantic with this blue because of the latency. I was a little worried as I have trouble finishing him off. Fortunately for me, he aggroes the mob on this hallway and puts himself in a lot of trouble. And he panic rolls right into my best friend. But GG, blue. So at this point, I'm not certain where the host is, but he introduces himself. I can't tell. I don't know if he purposefully unlocked there, didn't have time to lock on after the drop. All that to say, I'm not sure if he was trying to avoid the setup parry by unlocking or if that was just accidental. So he's resummoning his son bro who died earlier in the invasion. So he's now gone through 3 phantoms. And we still have a ways to go. So you see there, I swung several times into what would have been a parryable attack. I generally, at low levels like this, have a philosophy of... Skeleball doing some work. I have a philosophy of... Skeleball. I have a philosophy of prove to me you can parry. People typically don't have the Hornet Ring. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I pay for this philosophy, but I generally have a philosophy at these levels of prove to me that you can parry, and then I will worry about it. It's a little bit different, like if I'm going to the Crucifixion Woods where people gank specifically, I will be way more careful about swinging into parryable attacks. In a situation like this, though, I'll make them show me. Make them prove it first. So here I'm just trying to get some chip damage with my bow as they come down this hallway. Not altogether successfully. But this is fine. This is a fantastic hallway for invasions with the pressure plate that launches the arrows. You get all the skeletons throwing their Dark Souls 2 witching urns. It's good stuff. You can really kind of hold this point for a long time against a party that's not being super aggressive. So you see here the host is kind of content for the Sunbro to try to take me out, but the Sunbro is being pretty tentative too. GG, Sunbro. Little summoner lag there, causing some issues. So here I decided to go take out the blue. Partly to replenish Estus and partly just to prevent from being outnumbered again. Maybe it could have stayed there to try to finish off the host. So here's a Skeleball hitbox. Fun on the way down. Not so fun on the way up. I don't understand that. I guess it has a inconsistent hitbox. I guess it depends on whether there's a an arm poking out or a knee poking out or a foot. Whatever. Be careful near the Skeleballs. So we find the blue. He anticipates the R2 there, and I don't respect it. Despite what I was just saying about prove it to me, you'll see I pay for not respecting the fact that he went for the R2 parry before. Putting some good straight sword hell pressure on him here. He's not had much chance to be offensive. Just, man, straight swords. But there, nice delay on the parry. Very nice. But he was right in my face. And then I was anticipating the R2 parry again, I used the R1 spam. So his parry's late. The GG. So now I've got some Estus replenishment. Maybe not as much as I would have liked. Wasn't anticipating getting parried and riposted, but still. Got some Estus replenishment. Sombro is on his way back for the second time. And the other blue is here. Turtles up. Not a good idea. Nearly catch him with the roll catch there. He's able to wiggle away. And I kind of give up chase because I didn't want to get cut in a stun lock between him and the host. You'll see, I think in an invasion that's this long, I tend to stop going for the tricky, fun stuff, like pivots and rollback stabs. I'd go for it, but they didn't have weapons where I'm all that comfortable going for it. But pivots and like swaps, I will not. I'm not good enough yet to do them in situations like this. GG blue. So we're now 4 blues and 2 copies of the same Sombro into this invasion. The third copy, I guess the second copy, the third iteration of this Sombro is now before us. So I was invested, let's put it, in this invasion. I really wanted to beat this host. Like I'd gone through an army of phantoms, and I wanted the W. So I'm trying to get the PvE involved here, chucking some terrible free-aimed firebombs in the process. Nice little guard break on the Sombro. Wasn't watching his endurance closely enough. I'm seated here. Not a big deal. I just need to make sure I'm not staying still. As long as I'm moving around, they're right near me, so that skeleton is going to aggro on them again. But I do have to be careful because he can do damage in a hurry with this curved greatsword. Almost had the host. Sombro interrupts me. A little close on that prediction parry. That was probably kind of silly. But honestly, at this point, I remember I was pretty desperate to finish out this host. He's clearly got no Estus left. You see me chucking firebombs down there. Catch the Sombro on the good old R1, R1, R2. This is mine. GG host. A hell of a fight. I contemplate the point down for the Phantom Army, but that's all right. You know, he stuck around. He didn't disconnect. He didn't cheese me. Good stuff.